Monday morning, everybody. Hope everybody's having a great morning out there. Welcome back to another weather forecast video here this morning, brought to you by Weather on the Go. Hope everybody's having a great morning. We're going to be looking at the heavy rainfall that did fall with some flash flooding that did occur here 24 to 48 hours ago. We're also going to be looking ahead to a summertime cold front, bringing the threat for more flash flooding, more heavy rainfall across the Ohio Valley and the Mid-Atlantic as we head through the next couple of days, as well as another major heat wave here making its presence known across the middle of the country as we get toward the middle of August, and your full tropical weather update here in this video. Again, guys, if you guys have not subscribed to the YouTube channel, definitely hit that subscribe button down below and press the like button, guys. Definitely helps out the YouTube algorithm again, getting this information out to more and more people here, including your tropical weather update. So here in this video, guys, 24 hours ago, yeah, we saw some very heavy rainfall across northern Iowa, southern Minnesota, and then over into portions of northwestern Illinois, southwestern Wisconsin. The heaviest rainfall was up toward the Mason City area there in Iowa, and then up towards portions just west of Rockford, Illinois. We saw some rainfall amounts here being measured around 4 to 6 inches across these areas. So definitely some pretty significant rainfall. There was actually flash flood warnings across these areas, and there was a lot of flooding of streets in some of these areas as well, from northern Iowa into northwestern Illinois. There was confirmation of that as well. But as we kind of move a little bit farther out here and kind of zoom out the picture, not only was there heavy rainfall across the western Great Lakes in the Midwestern region, there was actually some pretty decent rains across northwestern Wyoming into southeastern Montana. We did see some of these areas, mainly open areas, but yeah, we saw some of these areas receiving, 1 to 3 inches of rain, especially, like I said, northwestern Wyoming, southeastern portions of Montana, even some sporadic heavier rainfall, again, unfortunately, for the portions there of east central Kentucky, southward towards Georgia and into the Carolinas. Some of those areas saw some sporadic rainfall amounts of 1 to 3 inches there as well. So looking ahead here to this afternoon, what are we seeing? Yeah, we're seeing that summertime cold front, sagging its way to the south and east, and along and ahead of that, we have a lot of low-level moisture. Dew points will be rising, but we also will have that heat out there as well, kind of fueling this, threat for some thunderstorms out there. Look at the I-95 corridor, guys, in New England, from Boston all the way down to New York City there, low to mid-90s. We got the 100s sticking around and some upper 90s down there in the portions of north and central Texas, getting up into Oklahoma. The Missouri Ozarks kind of cooling off a little bit, but still around the 90-degree mark down there, 95 there in St. Louis. But look up to the north, guys, behind that cold front. We're seeing some refreshing air back into portions there of northern Iowa, back into Wisconsin, the upper peninsula of Michigan, as well as most of Minnesota, with high temperatures this afternoon reaching the middle and upper 70s across these areas as well. But again, that heat wave does continue across the Pacific Northwest and the northwestern plains, from portions of the western Dakotas back into Montana and portions of Washington and Oregon. Yeah, widespread 90s, widespread lower 100s out there with that heat continuing to build. But like I said, with that rainfall threat, with this cold front, yeah, look at the dew points here in the blue and the purple shaded areas. That's dew points in the lower, even middle 70s from St. Louis all the way up towards the Champaign-Urbana area in eastern Illinois, getting up through the Indianapolis area, even Detroit and Toronto, seeing some pretty, sticky air with dew points in the low to mid 70s. The air you can wear, if you will. But behind the cold front, guys, look at the refreshing dew points, dropping back into the 50s, even some 40s back here into the Dakotas and the arrowhead there of Minnesota. So some drier air is, starting to move southeastward. It's just very slow moving. So we'll continue to track this. The composite reflectivity using the HRRR model, we got some scattered showers, some embedded thunderstorms across portions of the, the upper peninsula of Michigan, getting into northern lower Michigan as well. Just west of the Detroit area as we head into early this afternoon. Maybe a couple, renegade showers and storms along the front from Chicago all the way down towards the Kansas City area, but really not too much in coverage with those storms. But as we kind of move into late afternoon toward that peak heating time frame, again, we're going to start to see some heavy thunderstorms develop from Detroit back toward the Chicago lakefront, maybe just south of the Chicago area, into portions of South Bend, Indiana, Gary, Indiana, the Grand Rapids area, getting back toward Peoria, Illinois there. Some of these storms could be dropping some torrential rainfall rates of 1 to 2 inches per hour, even some sporadic showers and storms developing in those monsoon areas here from the desert southwest, maybe the panhandle of Texas, getting into Oklahoma there, where they desperately need the rainfall as well. Not looking at too much of a severe weather threat. There's actually just a general thunderstorm risk here today, so we're really not seeing any severe weather. But you could see maybe some pea-sized hail, maybe some, brief wind gusts of 30 to 40 miles per hour, but other than that, just mainly a heavy rain threat, and that will continue to move its way slowly to the south during the evening hours and kind of start to see the coverage of storms storms start to wane as we get into the overnight hours, as we start to lose the instability and we start to, kind of shut off the thunderstorm activity, but we still have showers across portions there of the New England, getting all the way down here to portions of the Ohio Valley, and in perhaps getting down toward the Red River there into southern Oklahoma. So we'll continue to watch that. Looking at the rainfall amounts here through the next 24 hours or thereabout, some heavy rainfall potential across portions of Michigan, getting down to north central Indiana, including the Indianapolis area, getting down to southern Illinois, the Missouri Ozarks there along the front. We could see, rainfall amounts of 1 to 2 inches here, expected from, like I said, Detroit to Indianapolis, down towards portions of St. Louis, maybe the Missouri Ozarks as well. Even some pretty heavy rainfall up there towards northern Maine, toward Caribou, Maine, getting into southern Quebec. Some of these areas could be receiving 2 to 3 inches of rain across those areas, so some pretty significant rainfall there. And even the monsoonal moisture bringing some pretty, beneficial rainfall across the Albuquerque area, getting back into the Phoenix, Tucson, Flagstaff area there, and up toward the Denver area in the Front Range of the Rockies, some beneficial rains as well. But this will come at a price for the potential for flash flooding. We got that slight risk for flash flooding and excessive rainfall for portions of Maine, getting into northern Vermont, New Hampshire, as well as a slight risk across northeastern New Mexico into southeastern and southern portions of Colorado, and an expansive area of a marginal risk here for some excessive rainfall and isolated flash flooding for much of the Ohio Valley, interior New England, getting down into the mid-south, as well as kind of up, up and down the west coast there from portions of Oregon, down into western portions of Nevada, eastern California, and down toward the Phoenix area as well into Arizona. But as we kind of move into Tuesday afternoon, that front just continues to slowly meander down to the south here toward the Tennessee and Ohio Valley, bringing the threat again for some more showers and storms on your Tuesday. But again, behind the front, look at the Chicago lakefront, guys. Mid-70s tomorrow, 74 in Chicago, 75 in Milwaukee, 77 up into Green Bay, 77 in Detroit. So some very, refreshing temperatures, coming our way here as we head into early this week on your Tuesday, August 9th. But look to the west, guys. We see that heat really starting to build across the Dakotas, Nebraska, and continuing down towards portions of Texas and Oklahoma, again with the relentless heat and the dry weather down there, and even some heat continuing to kind of spread across the Gulf Coast and the East Coast here as well ahead of that front. And again, as long as we have this moisture around, dew points in the upper 60s, lower 70s, you can bet that we could definitely see some heavier rainfall as we move into the afternoon on your Tuesday. Starting off late Tuesday morning into the early afternoon, we might have a complex of showers and storms here propagating to the south-southeast here across eastern Oklahoma, toward the Fort Smith, Arkansas area, down towards portions there of Springfield, Missouri, maybe the Little Rock area. There could be some thunderstorms trying to get down toward the Texarkana area or maybe the eastern side of the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex, but it will be tough to get those, showers and storms that far south as the cold front is still kind of farther to the north with all the forcing and the lift. But we might see some scattered showers and storms develop during the afternoon hours across North Texas into southern Oklahoma, and some of these areas could get some heavy rainfall as well if you get under a thunderstorm. These will be slow moving storms, so if you get under a thunderstorm in North Texas, Oklahoma, across the deep south, these will be slow movers, so about 10 to 15 mile per hour movement on these storms, so you could get some beneficial rain if you are lucky enough to get under some of these storms. And again, some of these areas do not need the rainfall. From portions of Kentucky northeastward toward the northeast, some of these areas don't need the rain. They do need the rain up toward Boston, but really portions there of Kentucky, we really don't need it. And in West Virginia, again, we might see some heavy rainfall there as well. That will continue into the overnight hours. And again, seeing the rainfall amounts on your Tuesday, widespread rainfall amounts from a quarter inch to even up to an inch in spots across portions of the Tennessee, Ohio valleys, getting up the I-95 corridor in the northeast from Boston down toward the New York City area. Even some heavier pockets of rain potentially up towards the portions there of Monroe, Louisiana, into northern Louisiana and southern Arkansas as well. There could be some heavier rainfall down toward the Texarkana area, maybe westward toward Dallas-Fort Worth, especially east of the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex. There could be some rainfall there that could be, beneficial for the drought concerns across northeast Texas. But again, it all has to do on the timing of the front as well as the forcing and lift here as that front moves to the south. And it could be driven by some outflow boundaries down that way as well toward the Red River. So we'll continue to kind of watch that as we head into your Tuesday. But nonetheless, again, flash flooding will be a concern from the northeast, the mid-Atlantic, southwestward towards the mid-south, the Ohio Valley, the Tennessee Valley, And again, a slight risk for excessive rainfall and flash flooding across Arizona, southern portions there of Nevada, southeastern portions of California, so the Las Vegas area, Flagstaff, Tucson, the Phoenix area, a lot of these areas, potentially some flash flooding on your Tuesday. But then the attention really turns after after we get toward the early portion of this week into the middle and late portion of the week. It really starts to turn toward the heat again. Again, a lot of these areas are going to be remaining in the heat early week, but really this starts to build as we get towards the Wednesday time frame. And the reason for that is because we're having a strong upper level trough that just continues to dominate across the Pacific Northwest and portions of British Columbia there, and even a stronger trough farther to the north across the Aleutian Islands there south of Alaska. That will drive this ridge to amplify a little farther to the north across portions of the central and southern plains, bringing all that heat farther north on your Wednesday. That continues into your Thursday, August 11th, and even your Friday here, getting toward early next weekend as well. You're going to continue to see that ridge dominate across the United States. As long as we have these troughs off of the Aleutian Islands and the Pacific Northwest, we'll continue to see that ridge dominate across the middle of the country. So looking here at Wednesday, August 10th, widespread temperatures in the middle and lower 90s across much of the central and southern plains. I guess the silver lining here is that portions of Dallas, Fort Worth, getting up towards the Wichita Falls area, Tulsa, Oklahoma, Oklahoma City, I guess you could say cooler, middle 90s, but again, we'll see that heat start to build back a little bit more on your Thursday here, August 11th, and then even as we get toward Friday, back to the heat again across portions of the Dakotas, southward through portions of Nebraska, and all the way down through Kansas, Oklahoma, and into Texas as well. And then as we kind of get a little bit farther towards next Saturday, August 13th through the 17th time frame here, getting right through the middle of August, the Climate Prediction Center 6 to 10 day temperature outlook does favor likely above normal temperatures for much of the country, especially the plains, the Great Plains westward toward the Pacific Northwest. The East Coast here will have probably a stronger upper level trough across the Great Lakes in the Northeast, kind of bringing some slightly below normal temperatures there, but there still could be some warm days in there as well, so don't let that fool you. And again, across those monsoon areas with the monsoon rainfall, you can expect some near normal to slightly below normal temperatures there across the Phoenix area. Underneath that ridge, guys, unfortunately, I wish I had better news. We still have below normal precipitation favored from North Texas, northward toward Oklahoma, into much of the Great Plains, and even eastward towards portions of the Ohio Valley, where they definitely need some of the drying weather, and then up toward the Great Lakes as well. But to the west here, we got the monsoon moisture in place. Yes, we're going to be seeing a lot of above normal precipitation around the Salt Lake City area, the Reno, Nevada area toward Las Vegas, getting into portions of the Rockies regions here, all the way up into portions of Cheyenne, Wyoming, the Denver area. Yeah, a lot of these areas will be in that moisture here for beneficial rains that they desperately need, continuing toward the middle of the month out there. And you can see why they desperately need the rain. Look at the drought monitor here: widespread, severe, extreme, and even exceptional drought here in the reds. That's extreme drought, and in the maroon reds and the dark reds, that's actually exceptional drought there. And we're just seeing a lot of drought across portions of Texas, expanding to the west towards portions of the southwestern United States. So again, I do understand we definitely need the rainfall. I wish I had better news, but some areas might see some beneficial rainfall. Places like Texas, unfortunately, and Oklahoma might not. So again, I wish I had better news, but we'll continue to watch that. But even as we get toward next weekend, guys, look at the ridge just still remaining parked in place across the central and southern plains, across Kansas, across Oklahoma, across North Texas here on your Saturday, August 13th. That remains the same even as we get toward late next weekend, guys. Almost a week from now, we're still seeing that ridge dominating across the country, maybe starting to dampen, starting to weaken a little bit on the northern periphery here across the northern plains as this trough continues to kind of broaden out a little bit across portions of southern Canada. But that will be something to watch as well during that period here, and I'll point that out here in just a moment. But yeah, look at the temperatures, guys. Upper 90s to even some lower 100s for your weekend here to start the weekend next weekend, and just look at right back to the heat box here with lower 100s across portions there of Texas, Oklahoma, and Kansas, all the way up to the Dakotas here as we head in towards that Sunday, August 14th time frame. So we'll also have to watch the jet stream as well along the northern and northeastern periphery, as we well know that sometimes these ridges start to break down in the northern and northeastern fringes of the ridge, and we have to watch some of these short waves that kind of round this ridge along portions of southern Canada and then drop south and east along that northwesterly flow in the mid-levels across the Dakotas, across Minnesota, and the western Great Lakes, and perhaps the Ohio Valley. We could watch these for some active thunderstorm clusters. Whether or not they will be severe is a little uncertain right now. It's a little far out, but we'll continue to watch that. That could continue as we head towards Monday. Early indications are probably not severe just due to the fact that we have a stronger upper level trough, and preceding that we have some cooler temperatures in the 70s and 80s, but we could have some isolated severe weather, so we'll continue to see that. Probably more of a heavy rain setup again as we get toward early of the following week, toward the middle of August, and that just continues towards the 17th time frame with maybe a stronger shortwave rounding the northern periphery of the ridge up into portions of southern Manitoba, southeastern Saskatchewan, and the Dakotas. We'll have to watch potentially there as well. And like I said, active storm clusters are possible, kind of, all this monsoonal moisture kind of getting thrown up and over this ridge. So we could have some storm clusters developing across the western Great Lakes, even though it doesn't show above normal anomalies here for precipitation. I do think as we get closer, we'll start to see more of this green area start to shift a little farther to the east-northeast. But again, from Texas all the way up into Kansas and Oklahoma, probably not seeing too much of rainfall here as we get through much of the, the middle of August here, the next couple of weeks, unfortunately. Now to your, full tropical weather update. Very active across the tropics, guys, especially the eastern Pacific. We're watching two separate areas here, one with a low chance, one with a medium chance, about a 20 to 40% chance within these two shaded areas in the yellows and oranges. South of the Hawaiian Islands, we could be seeing maybe some development of a tropical depression or just kind of a little bit of a weak tropical wave, bringing some wave action to the portions there of the southern islands, and then even portions there even of some, surf action here as well. But a little bit more concerned of some of the rainfall here to the east as well. That is with tropical storm Howard right now. That's across eastern portions of the Pacific Ocean right now. This is probably the closest the tropical system has been to Baja of California here as of recent. So we'll continue to watch this. Maybe some high surf, maybe some wave action there, and some heavy rainfall potentially close to the Baja of California there. And again, another area of interest just to the south and east there of Howard across the eastern Pacific Basin that has another 10 to 20% chance or so of development over the next 5 days. So we'll continue to watch that for the potential development again of another tropical depression or tropical storm in those areas. You can see tropical storm Howard right now just south and west of the Baja of California here. Pretty small compact system here moving to the north and west. Again, looking at the cone of uncertainty, yeah, this will continue to remain over the open waters of the eastern Pacific Basin. Tropical storm status as we get through the middle of the week, and then as we get toward that Wednesday evening, Thursday morning time frame, as it kind of moves into the cooler waters here and starts to, interact with some more shear in portions of the eastern Pacific Basin, we'll start to see this, become a tropical depression and then kind of a post-tropical cyclone as we kind of move a little bit, towards the late portion of this week into next weekend. But all interests, all eyes are on the Atlantic Ocean, guys. We still have this area of concern. The National Hurricane Center is still monitoring this area west of the African coast here and much of the southern Atlantic Basin for about a 30 to 40% chance of development here of a system over the next 5 days. We'll continue to watch it. Pretty robust convection starting to fire up across portions of the southern Atlantic Basin. Again, we have that strong Bermuda high just remaining dominant across the central Atlantic, so that will steer the system more than likely to the west northwest with time, and that's kind of what the National Hurricane Center is thinking. So let's kind of look at what the models are thinking. This is the European forecast model. We have kind of some tropical moisture moving across the southern Pacific Basin here on the European model. It doesn't really take this moisture north. It kind of moves it farther west toward the Lesser Antilles, but really never, brings a strong system here. It's just kind of a weak system as it kind of comes off portions there of the Atlantic coast here and then kind of moves it to the west here. And the same thing is true with the GFS. As you can see, this a little bit farther to the north than the European forecast model does, and really kind of not as strong as it was a couple days ago. So that is something we'll watch. Again, it might be one of those times where we just have a weak system that could become a tropical depression, maybe a low-end tropical storm. Again, this is not looking favorable for hurricane status because of the waters are just not warm enough out in the southern Pacific or the southern Atlantic Basin, and there might be some shear kind of interacting with this as well as some of the remaining Saharan dust that could kind of interrupt some of this storm. So we'll watch this as well. But looking across the Gulf Coast and the southeast, again, the climate forecasting systems model has been very active and very, interesting this year, and, very accurate as well. It just continues to bring drier than normal conditions from Florida through the Gulf Coast, and I tend to agree with this. We're probably not going to see this system hit the U.S. mainland here. I doubt a lot of the models are kind of shifting this farther to the north and west here, so that is some good news, certainly for portions of the southeastern United States. We might dodge a bullet this time around, but we'll continue to watch it as the hurricane season will really start to ramp up. You can see the Atlantic hurricane season does start to ramp up now, and it really doesn't peak until, early to mid-September and really goes through early October. So we still have a couple months yet to watch, guys. So don't let your guard down. Even if this system doesn't start, pan out like it could, we still got to watch these as we kind of move a little bit farther in time through the rest of August into September and October. Well, thank you guys for watching my video. Hope that was very informative, very valuable information for you. Remember to like my video, press the thumbs up button as well. Tell your family, tell your friends, tell anybody you know to join the channel, as well as subscribe down below. Definitely much appreciated, guys. Leave your comments, questions, concerns down below. I'll be able to answer those later today. And again, like I said, subscribe to the YouTube channel, guys. Our new goal is 1,000 subscribers. If you guys help me out, I definitely would appreciate that. And I hope everybody has a great rest of their week out there, and I'll see you in the next video.